Welcome to EDSC 531. This is group counseling theories and techniques. I am Professor Bobo, and this is the instructor video for week 2. This week, you guys have your first assignment that is due, as well as you also have discussion boards. I'm going to begin lecturing from chapters 3 and 4. I will share my screen with you. Okay, so chapter 2. What chapter 2 focuses on is using data to inform and advocate for small group counseling. So small group counseling is used for Tier 2 intervention, and Tier 2 intervention involves students who you have begun in Tier 1, and in Tier 1 you may have done whole group counseling sessions in the classroom, and that is where we are providing a different skill or technique or a subject area for a group of students, and we're giving it to all the students because the majority of the students are lacking skills in that specific area. An example of that is friendship. Perhaps you've done a friendship lesson in a group, or if you're doing academic advising for your 9th grade students, or something about dating and relationships in middle school. So at this point, you're noticing that students are not making good choices in these particular areas at these different levels, and you are trying to provide some basic skills and tools and techniques that all students could benefit from. And you would do a pre and post test. The pre-test would have the same information on the post test, sharing with the students, this is what you will be learning in this course, and afterwards taking the test and seeing if they have gathered some of the skills that you were trying to teach. In a whole group lesson, you're really trying to teach one concept, and then you come back in another week or so to teach a different concept on the same subject area. For our small group, Tier 1 whole group classrooms sessions, we usually don't need to do an informed consent. You can send an informed consent to all of the students, in that classroom, to let the classroom, the parents be aware that you're doing lessons in the classroom. But this is part of us having the job on the campus. Normally, when we do whole group class lessons, we usually are just inclusive to everyone. And this is part of our just normal practices. Once we move to Tier 2 and we pull students out after we have taught certain skills to the different students at the different levels, depending on the need, and we see that some students continue to struggle with that same subject area, then we select those students mostly based on the fact that you've gone in and taught whole group, and this helps to explain to the parents as to why you're moving to a smaller group, because there are some students that still need some reinforcement of that skill set. And then you have more cooperation from the parents to sign the informed consent, to be able to work with them in a smaller setting to reinforce the skills that you've taught to the whole group. So once we're at this Tier 2, which is what the screen is saying, we are looking at what are the barriers to learning. What is causing this small group or this group of students to not be able to retain the information or practice or utilize it? So maybe they just need more practice. Are the students struggling to achieve academic success? So the academic success applies to my grades are failing because perhaps most of the time I am out of the classroom working on these other skills and I'm not successful with them and I spend more time outside of the classroom. And are they identified as deserving of instruction or support in addition to the tier one activities? Okay, so do they need more support? And this is where you would contact the parent and say, I've done whole group lessons and a few students are still struggling. So I would like to include them in on this small group activity. So here's some best practices for small group. It has to be driven by data. So basically, you are noticing that they are still having an increase in out of classroom behavior, distractions, low grades, and those are all the things as to why you are selecting them for this small group. You usually predetermine these and agree upon them with your staff so that your staff and your support staff are aware of the data that you're using. And then you're going to schedule the lessons. Usually for small group, you do 6 to 8 additional lessons outside of the ones that you've already done for the whole group to be able to build on them. And then utilize screening elements. So you want to make sure that you have some sort of assessment and that you're screening out anybody who, maybe they just haven't been there long enough, or, there are different factors that would have you screen them out and maybe they're not great in small groups. So maybe they need an individualized counseling session to teach the same exact skills that you would do with 3 to 4 students or 5 to 10 students. Again, they're conducted on a short-term basis, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks, doing one lesson each week. And depending on the age group, it can range from 15 minutes for my kindergartners all the way up to an hour time, for our high schoolers. It needs to be content specific, aligning with the data driven need. It needs to include ongoing progress monitoring. So you want to also have like an evaluation that you send to the teacher to see if they're practicing the skills. You can have a quick sheet that says the skill that was taught that week and maybe some pointers or reminders to give to the teacher so that if they are observing the behavior in the classroom or they're being reported of behavior outside in the yard, there's some keywords that they can use to get the student to reflect back on the skills that are being taught in the counseling session and measure your results and your impact. So getting them to fill out an evaluation sheet, like has the behavior improved since you finished the small group, or how are they progressing as they're going through the small group? And empowering them to make systematic changes. So here's some common groups for all ages: attendance, discipline, referrals and suspensions, course and homework completion, and course failure. All right, so this comes from our book, and it is just basically group topics that would assist you for your small group utilizing data. You do academic skills, academic mindset, study skills, goal setting, and you use your report card data, coursework completion, grades, and then how you're going to select the students. Which of the small groups will you be addressing? 3 or more ends, less than 60% completion of the work, 2 or more Fs. Another sample is conflict resolution, some of the things I mentioned earlier, emotional management, stressors, peer relationships, and social skills. These you would use the office discipline referrals, report card data like citizenship, 3 or more ends. And then here's a sample small group curriculum for week 1, an introduction and purpose of the group. For week 2, goal setting and self-assessment. Week 3, organizing yourself or organizing the students. Um, Group week 4, organizing material for learning. Week 5, strategies for completing classwork. Week 6, strategies for completing homework. Week 7, goal setting and self-assessment review. Like, how did they do? And then the closure for week 8. So again, 6 to 8 weeks is usually a sample. All right. In chapter 4, it talked about group facilitation to enhance MTSS. And when we're talking about that, school counselors normally address academic, career, and college and social emotional development needs by designing, implementing, evaluating, and enhancing a comprehensive school counseling program that promotes and enhances student success. And this comes from our ASCA standards. For the MTSS, here's your tier 2. So again, we put students according to, um, you know, tiers, but the behaviors are what we are addressing. We are not addressing that a student falls into these tiers. A student may need a tier 2 or a tier 1 or a tier 3 intervention, as opposed to the student fell into tier 2, tier 1, tier 3. So you drive your interventions based on that information. And small group is a tier 2 intervention. So here is a college ready domain for tier 2 in the K-8 area. It it's when I do college and career readiness for my 4th and 5th graders, that is the earliest that I would do it. Now I can see it at the kinder level where you're exposing them to different types of careers. So I've seen that with dress up days and teachers, you know, teaching a skill set about the community. You can go in and talk about the community. You can talk about jobs. You can have them ask their parents what they do and have them report back out. And then you can have visuals and they can have dress up days. They can dress up like their parent and so on. So those are ways that we can start to expose the younger ones. In 4th and 5th grade, I have a annual college and career readiness process where we've done we've studied various careers, and then I ended a culminating activity with a career day. And then we also did the same with colleges, studying different colleges, what it takes to get into college, the different types of colleges that there are, the different types of degrees that you can receive, and then ending it with a a college fair. So each student would represent a college and make a poster of the college and answer questions. And I've done that in the library where different adults come in and they do their presentation about their specific college to the support staff and other teachers on campus. Just kind of letting them know where the college is located, how large the college or how small the college is, what are the grades, what's the GPA. I teach them GPA because in elementary and they don't have A, B, C, D, they have 1, 2, 3. So I equate that to what is upcoming. And especially this is helpful for our 5th graders because they're transitioning to middle school where these grades are becoming important. In 9th, 10th, and 11th, you would focus on credits and shortness of credits, AP potential. They qualified but didn't apply to college. So helping those students to navigate through the application process, FAFSAs and scholarship apps, showing early signs of melting, summer melting, like not, you know, completing their coursework as they are exiting 12th grade And for some colleges, if you're looking at the Ivy Leagues, this could be detrimental because they have to finish strong with a B or better in order to be accepted, and not have that college take back that acceptance, even though they've received it. And also just, helping those students that are historically underrepresented, with college and career supports. And those underrepresented usually are foster, homeless, EL students, students with disabilities, and undocumented and first generation students. So that pretty much covers, chapters 3 and 4. And this, I want you to make sure that you are focusing on your assignment that is due this Sunday. It is your first assignment. Again, remembering that most of the assignments in this particular course are approximately 2 pages long. And I also will have the video attached for you to prepare yourself for week 3, when you are presenting to a small group, and watching others present a small group lesson. Thank you.